Look, when we look out at the world, Samir, we look for partners. We don't look for preachers. Particularly preachers who don't practice at home what they preach abroad. And I think some of Europe is still struggling with that problem. Some of it is changing. So, the issue for us, I mean, in many ways, Europe, I think, has entered a certain zone of reality check. Now, whether they are able to step up to it or not, it's something we will have to see. But from our point of view, if we are to develop a partnership, there has to be some understanding, there has to be some sensitivity, there has to be a mutuality of interest, and there has to be a realization of how the world works. And I think these are all work in progress to differing degrees with different parts of Europe. So some have moved further, some a little bit less. Even today, when we look at key partners, sometimes people read us too tactically. You know, if I were to refer, for example, to a subject which has been, last few years a little controversial, India-Russia. You know, there is such an important fit, a complementarity between India and Russia as a resource provider and a resource consumer. When I look at where all Indian diplomacy, typically we would look at, a very simple sort of political metric. Today I have a different range of partners in different domains, and one very important domain is resources. So that is why a Russia, an Australia, a Brazil, an Indonesia, Africa, these are important for us. We have, in our history, as you know, we had kept away from alliances. Yeah, sure. We, even till fairly recently, we were getting advice from people why it's good to be part of an alliance. Sure. I think the global fashion has taken a different direction now. We have always taken a view, there's a Russia realism that we have advocated. Okay. When passions were very high in 2022, 23, and, if one looks back at that period, the kind of predictions and scenarios which were put forward have turned out not to be well-founded. We are not necessarily taking the case of one party or the other, but we've always felt that there was, international relations is conducted on the basis of some fundamental realism, and that realism requires an engagement with Russia. And the idea that a solution would come about, because if you remember, there was a period when countries were gathering and everybody was there except Russia, and they were discussing Russia. So the idea that you will get a solution out of Russia without inviting Russia challenged, the basics of realism. So we have felt always that there is a need to engage Russia. I mean, nobody wants wars. These are particularly in a very interdependent world. These are mutual. I mean, these are lose-lose situations. But I think for us to engage Russia, and if there is any way we can be of any help, we have always been very open about it. Having said that, we have also been very careful not to prescribe a solution. We have not told one or the other party do this or do that, and that's important to remember, because that's a courtesy which apparently is not always granted to us. So we get advice on what we should be doing.